Seether's had a targeted style and delivery going back to 2002. Bitter, angsty, sullen post-grunge. It's a style that fans of Seether have driven back to for well over 15 years and will continue to do so in 2020. Si Vis Pacem, Bellum, the group's 8th studio album, and this time produced by frontman Shaun Morgan, is the next entry in angst and frustrated hard rock. Along with this new album being advertised as angst-fueled, Seether also are describing their 8th entry as having some of their strongest and most political songs ever. I know people will tire from hearing this, but it's 2020 and everyone in the US will have to pick a side and be political at one point or another. That includes musicians. Si Vis Pacem Bellum, or If You Want Peace, Prepare for War, runs 51.5 minutes across 13 tracks and features the new addition of Corey Lowery, who also played for Saint Asonia and Stuck Mojo. This follows Poison the Parish, which I stand by was a step up for Seether in that it had many songs that had them try something different. The album definitely had a typical Seether fare, but it also had more variety and emotional range than normal, along with changes in sound. In 2020, the new album definitely feels like a return back to what Seether is specifically known for and their fans all want to hear. Lower tone guitar tracks and a brooding atmosphere almost entirely from beginning to end. With the new album also being self-produced and then mixed by Matt Hyde, who's worked with Deftones in the past, it's safe to say that the 8th LP is exactly how Seether wants it. There is something to be said about an album coming from a successful band that was made with less interference from a label and fewer producers because you know it's closer to what said band wants to present to their fan base. And let's be honest, Seether's fan base mostly want a similar and unchanging sound that Seether has delivered for many years. Change is not always what everyone wants. The first single released to promote the album was the 4th track, Dangerous, which received significant mainstream airplay almost instantly. There is some good harmonic guitar work and riffs on this track, and the lyric and vocals are fine. They're okay. I think that's what is keeping me from loving a song like this because Morgan's delivery in the verses is barely above a speaking tone at points, and the song begs for more fire and energy. Bruised and Bloodied starts with some chunky, thick bass and a strong riff to kick it off, and the verses build slow to a much more energetic chorus than Dangerous. This is definitely a standard Seether track by the numbers, but the instruments work and it carries everything, and I like that the bass is given a little bit more focus. Beg has a steady chug-a-chug riff in the verses, but it's here where Morgan finally cuts loose and you get some aggression. In many ways, it's the reverse from Dangerous in that the music-wise it's not as memorable, but the chorus and performance in the singing is much better. Of these singles, I found myself more interested in the latter ones than Dangerous, which is oddly getting the most attention. With that though, I have to admit, I was not enthralled with any of them. This is very much what Seether did for over a decade, copy-paste in many different ways. The album opener, Dead and Done, sets a good tone. The first minute of the track is instrumental, and there's much more effort in the singing along with some great guitar rhythm. The chorus is powerful and angry, which is the side of Seether that I think should get more credit when it appears. Solid opening track. Wasteland follows after Bruised and Bloodied, and while the higher tone of the guitar adds a bit of variety, the song drones on until an out-of-place, frustrated scream comes in. It's a song of two styles where not much happens at first, and then an outcry of emotion comes in, and then it goes back to a drone about needing a crutch and saying something. Liar comes after the main single Dangerous, and it makes use of the additional guitar work. Without trying to sound like a broken record, the guitars on this album feel a bit more polished and improved thanks to the addition of Lowery. As for the song itself, it's more of the same. It doesn't pull much emotion through the lyrics, and the guitars sound a bit louder than the vocals, which do hinder the singing. Can't Go Wrong starts strong and reminds me slightly of some of the tracks on Poison the Parish, but the chorus is staticky and it has guitar chugging that is a big discord from the pretty solid sounding verses. It's a dour track with a mixed message in the meaning that's under 4 minutes, but it feels stretched out unnecessarily. Buried in the Sand is Paint by Number Seether. This is exactly what you think of when you imagine a new Seether song. A slow, plodding track with a steady bass and drum line, talking about hitting the bottle and giving up to misery. It's dead center in the album and brings everything to a crawl. Even an extended bridge doesn't do much here. Let It Go is another track that has the vocals lower in the volume and has a lot of guitar riffs prominent. The chorus has some solid line delivery, but it's not much that hasn't been said before. Wanting to become numb and turning sour grapes to wine, it's more of the being fed up, giving up, and hitting the bottle type attitude. Failure is more of the drudging post-rock groaning about being a failure. It's the mainstream rock format, as are most most songs on this album, but the creative style and the music is missing, and this song is a slog to get through. Drift Away has more mixed messages about not being brought down even as you struggle with self-loathing. This is the longest track on the album, and it does feel like a personal moment at parts about being hollow and ugly on the inside, and Seether fans should eat it up because it's been done many times before. Pride Before the Fall follows and feels a bit more energetic than the previous few songs, but not by much, and there is such a harsh bridge and a connection that it makes the record stop. It's an attempt at anger that's a harsh scream along to a bland riff, and this really should not have been on the album. Finally, Written in Stone opens with a breath of fresh air and some calming guitar notes, and Shaun Morgan going back to singing more peacefully after screaming his head off. The lyrics about the flame being snuffed out and being torn apart encapsulates the sullen misery in this album's theme. It's honestly nothing to write home about, but it definitely flows better than the last several songs and is a decent closer. That advertised political side? Not really that much on here, or at least it doesn't come through. The latest album from Seether truly is a collection of banner anthems from being so miserable that you just grab a bottle and give up on life. That really is an extremely accurate description for this. The music is a step back from Poison the Parish. There's nothing truly offensively bad here, but nothing great. It would have been given a flat down the middle grade, but it does get an extra point for some of the additional guitar work. And that's about it. Not much else to say. Overall, Si Vis Pacem Bellum will absolutely satiate the diehard Seether fans who love the band for doing what they do and making post-grunge, self-loathing songs that have followed their formula for most of their career. This album is not a statement of preparing for war, even in terms of inner turmoil and inner struggle, but rather it's a statement of wanting peace, but then waving the white flag to surrender while soaking in angst. What did you think of Seether's 8th studio album? Leave a comment and let everyone know. Big thanks to my patrons and a special thanks to Brandon Barenfeld, Chris Doman, McKenna White, and Dom Smith. You can support the channel and get perks like having a vote in upcoming videos and seeing them early by supporting Rocked on Patreon. Just $2 a month goes a long way. Please click on the link in the video description for more info. Please subscribe to stay notified on upcoming videos. You can check out my cons photography on Instagram, and you can keep up to date with Rocked on Facebook and Twitter.